Hey everybody, it's Lisa with Quilting in the Valley. I'm here with Philip from
Laurastar.
and he is going to show us why this iron is way cool for quilters.
And sewist. So first of all, as a quilter, you probably know that most quilters don't iron their quilts or seams, they press them.
Right, absolutely, or we should.
Exactly. And on top of that, most quilters don't use steam when they press the seams.
True.
And why is that? Because most of the time when you have an iron at home, the steam is wet. And when you put the wet steam into your fabric, that shrinks or distorts your fabric. And that's kind of like why your laundry, when you wash it too hot, it shrinks.
Right.
Because with Laurastar we have that dry steam, you can actually use steam to press your seams. And that's a big benefit. So for example, if this is my seam and I want to press this down, and if I just press it down like this, you will see I'll never get a perfectly flat seam.
True.
But if I use steam, and you can see I use a lot of steam right now, you can touch the fabric again and it's dry.
Dry.
You get a perfectly flat seam. So when
let's look at the crease.
Yes.
Nice.
So this is a huge benefit, I think, for a quilter or for somebody that sews in general, to get perfectly flat seams, not just like holding down your iron and pressing down especially.
Or doing this business.
Exactly. You can just go a little bit of seam and you have a perfectly flat seam. And obviously you can also go and get the crease out again. You know, so I think that's a huge benefit for everybody that wants to have perfectly flat seams for quilting or for garment sewing.
It does, just to throw this in there. If your seams are lying flat, and let's say you're doing a Bonnie Hunter quilt, and you know how many seam intersections there are across a queen size Bonnie Hunter quilt, what, it's 50? A lot. If you lose 1/8 of an inch times 50 intersections, that ends up a hell of a lot of inches, pardon my French, at the end. So if you can get that seam as flat as can be to begin with, it really saves you a lot of trouble matching intersections as you go.
Exactly. So what we have here is our smart iron, and as you can see, it's a whole system. The big benefit is that you have a fan in here that either blows air out or sucks air down. So why is this great for a quilter? First of all, you all know batting. You know, you all know batting that's wrinkly, and what do you do with wrinkled batting? You can obviously not iron it because you would burn it. So as you can see, if I touch this button here, I create an air cushion underneath my batting in this case. And all I do now is just hover over, and you can see the wrinkles are out. It's a perfectly fluffy, dry batting. So for everyone that has either also a long arm, with the smaller lift that we have, if you have a long arm and you put your fabric on or your batting on, you can go over with your Laurastar, get all the wrinkles out. That's a huge time saver.
That's this one down here.
The smaller version, exactly. It doesn't come with the table, but it's more portable.
For the long arm.
Exactly. A lot of long armors have this next to the long arm to really get the wrinkles out.
That's a really good
idea.
idea.
The fabric or batting, just for that purpose. So I think that's a huge benefit for a quilter, to get the wrinkles out of the batting.
And I've not met a quilter yet that doesn't have an entire bag of leftover batting pieces that they're going to save for a table runner or whatever that looks just like that did.
Exactly. So the next big problem that every quilter knows is ironing backings.
Yes.
So having a big piece of fabric, you know, you start to iron it. As we know, we put a lot of moisture into the fabric. As soon as it touches the floor, you have wrinkles again in the fabric, and you can start over. With Laurastar, we have a dry steam, and we have a very powerful steam. In combination with our active board that can not only blow air up, but actually can also suck down the air, we can iron multiple layers of fabric. So we have this big piece of fabric now that we folded up in 4 layers, and now we can iron 4 layers at the same time. Again, I press this button, now it actually sucks down the air. It really sucks down the steam through all the layers, and I can go and iron 4 layers at the same time, and I have 4 perfect layers of fabric. And obviously that helps me to save a lot of time. Imagine how long it takes you to iron a backing or a big piece of fabric.
Crazy.
So I think that's a big benefit too for every quilter.
Which would be a time saver for everyone.
Exactly. Then I quickly want to speak about the shape of the iron. most irons that you are using probably at home, when you press down here on the back. Most of the weight, you know, like you hold them back
Sure.
here. As you can see, our iron is shaped in a way very ergonomically. So when you press down, the whole weight gets distributed much more evenly over the whole surface.
Okay.
Also the weight of the iron, because all the steam gets produced down here, it's lightweight and you can feel it yourself, you know, it's not heavy. So for someone that has maybe problems with their, I don't know, carpal tunnel or whatever,
Sure.
this is a huge benefit because it's ergonomically shaped. Also, it's made for left and right-handers. It's the only iron that you can use as a left or as a right-hander, because you can see you have a button over here and button over here. So you, as a right-hander, I iron from here. As a left-hander, I would iron from the other side.
Good idea.
So that's a big benefit too for a left and a right-hander.
Cool. Now, I do want to point out though, while it is lightweight for a substantial iron, this is not a cheap plastic iron. So this is not one of those Rowentas that you pick up for 20 bucks at Walmart. This is a substantial iron that is going to last you.
It has a 2-year warranty. Laurastar is a family Swiss-owned company, and one of the values that we have from Laurastar is that we build products that last. It's not, as she said, not a throwaway product. It's a product that we can also fix and repair. So if after 6, 7, 8 years your iron maybe needs some servicing, you can bring it back to your dealer and we will service it for you.
Wonderful.
So this is a thing that's, I think, very unique. We actually have parts up for up to 10 years that we can repair it. We did a customer survey a year ago here in the US, and we asked our customers how long they have been using their Laurastar, and the average age was 12 years. So that shows you that, yeah, it's a little bit more expensive product, but it's a product that lasts you. Think about how often you buy a Roventa or whatever iron
Or
and
Black & Decker.
you throw it away after a year or two because it broke. This iron is built to last.
So you can add up the cost of those Rowentas, multiply that times 10, and then see if you get the same kind of quality.
And it's actually also something for our environment. You know, it's just like we don't want to produce products that are throwaway products.
Yeah.
You know, I think, yeah.
Absolutely.
So the next demonstration I want to show you is for applique. Everybody does applique, and what I have here is a piece of fabric and my applique. And I put on here on the back a piece of steamacy. So I'll take this off now and put it onto my fabric. So what you normally probably at home do, or you probably too, put your iron on here for like 10-15 seconds
Right.
until it's like, right. As you can see how fast I can do it with my Laurastar. That's all it takes. And now you can try to peel this off. It's on. So this is another huge time saver for you. When you do a lot of applique, you don't need to have your iron on your little pieces for a long time. You just go over once with the steam, with the hot surface of the iron, and you're much faster in doing that.
Yep, it's on there. So for those of you doing the Tony Whitneys, yeah.
So as you can see, this iron is not just a regular iron.
Nope.
You know, it is really a tool that helps you perfect your quilting. You know, also for everybody that has quilts, heirloom quilts, baby quilts that they don't want to wash all the time, because we have a hygienic steam, you can purify, kill all the bacteria that are in those quilts. You don't have to wash it all the time. Or people with allergies, or
Right.
with dogs, or I don't know, with small children at home, they can use their Laurastar. And it helps them to like purify the Laurastar, or the
Fabric.
fabric. Exactly. One more, and you don't have a quilt here, but let's pretend this is a quilt.
Okay.
One element I forgot to say is we have lines on here, as you can see.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you see that on the camera too. It helps you to align, or for example, when you want to have little pieces, you want to really make sure that they're all aligned. If you have a big piece of a big quilt, what normally happens when you iron it, it will slide down because of the weight.
Sure.
So, because we have the fan built in here that sucks down the air, you can really go and iron your edges here without the fabric sliding down. So you see how
There's fabric hanging almost to the floor.
Exactly. So now you can go and iron your quilt on the edge without it sliding down. So I think that's a big benefit too, if you really like want to perfect and finish your quilt.
Square it.
Exactly, for example. So yeah, I think most important is try the Laurastar out. Come to your store or go to your local Laurastar dealer and try it out and see why it really changes your ironing. It makes it more fun. It makes it faster. So it's really
I can see this
a
saving
life
quite a
change.
bit of time.
Yes.
And
Okay.
heartburn when you get a quilt long-armed and you've got a fold permanently quilted in the back of your quilt. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
because the wide back wasn't straight. Wonderful. Well, we will have these to play with at Champaign for our grand opening. That's April 1st through 5th. And of course in LaSalle. We've got them here so you can come play with these. See what the difference is. These are cool. Come and see us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.